Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a short prayer and a salute to our flag? Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jessica, statement of publication?
Take notice that this regular agenda meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 15th day of June 2026 has been posted and advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Blumer.
Here.
Polisi.
Here.
Novak. Here. Rios.
Here.
Sinarski.
Here.
Zabrowski.
Here.
Okay, Council President, approval of the prior minutes?
Mayor, move the following minutes of the mayor and council be approved on roll call vote. They are the May 26, 2026 special meeting, May 26, 2026 regular agenda session, executive session, subject to corrections if necessary.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilperson Zabrowski.
Yes.
Blumer.
Yes.
Polisi.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Rios.
Yes.
Sinarski.
Yes.
At this time, we have the pleasure to recognize two heroines in the borough of Sayreville. So at this time, would Jennifer Dusko and Jeannie Cirillo please come forward? John. John. Council, if you'd go up to the railing also, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, good evening, everyone. This is the really fun part of our portion of our meeting, and I'm glad there's so many people here to be able to take advantage of this proclamation for two wonderful employees of the borough of Sayreville. You know, we many times will feed our first responders because they study, they work, and they plan to be either to go into the line of fire or to go into the fire itself. But our borough employees don't do that. They sign up to be able to provide great assistance to the residents of Sayreville. In this particular case, to those that participate in our active adult center. But every once in a while, you're put in a position where at a moment's notice, you have to act. And it'd be very easy to just sat down and said, I don't know, or I can't, or I won't, or I'm not able to. But both Jeannie Cirillo and Jen Dusko did not do that. They acted with a moment's notice because they saw one of our residents was having a medical emergency. And because of that, that medical emergency was much diminished and that person is doing well. So ladies, for your calmness, for your comfort that you provided, for your medical assistance that you provided, and at the end of the day, just simply for the courage and compassion that you provided to that person, you just make us all much better. So on behalf of the borough of Sayreville, I present both of you a proclamation. The proclamation says the borough of Sayreville wishes to recognize your commitment to duty and your heroic efforts in assisting a resident in distress. Your efforts have enriched us generously because a community possesses no greater treasure than the dedicated service of its people. Ladies, we are indebted and thank you so much for all that you did. Now, come over here, please. If anybody would like to take pictures, there's got to be someone that would like to come up and take some pictures of Jeannie and Jen.
Hey, Jen. Jen, would you come up and everyone now knows they're heroines, but you have the story. So who has the story?
Well, let's have them
Who has the
do that
story?
themselves.
the story.
They're humble people. That's why they're heroines.
Well, thank you. We don't feel like we're heroines, honestly, because we work at the senior center and whatever the seniors' needs are is exactly what we try to do. So for us, there's never any ordinary day at the senior center. Very interesting days most of the time, but this woman who's standing up happened to be, it was her friend that was in distress, came to the office. Jen actually attended to her hands-on, and she was the one that was really more in direct contact with her. I just simply called 911, and we were able to get an ambulance there. So for us, it just comes from our heart to just help our seniors in any way that we can. So if anybody ever needs any help, come to the senior center, and we'd be happy to help you.
We're good? Anybody else? Yep.
Jeannie and Jennifer, my legs are giving me trouble and I would be tilting and tottering. And so I asked the council president to go up tonight. It's just a recovery from the back surgery. Some days it's good, some days it's not. So, but I am very, very proud of you. You are wonderful people. Yes, I did also want to make a note. We lost a very, very fine man this week. His name was Mickey Evers. And I knew Mickey from the Knights of Columbus. He was a past Grand Knight. Played golf with Mickey. He was just an all-around good guy, a faithful husband, devoted father. And his wife passed away in January, and I believe he's gone to join her. She probably has a place set up and she wants him to pick out the paint or something. But they were in love their whole married life. So if you would join me in a moment of silence for Mickey Evers, resident of Saraville. Thank you. At this time, we're going to go into executive session. Go ahead, Counselor.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore it be resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public portion of this meeting is hereby adjourned in order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 10 to 15 minutes to discuss the following matters: attorney-client privilege, litigation, Board of Education. Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene the open portion of this public meeting to consider any other matters which may be properly brought before at this time. The nature and content of the discussion which occurs in closed session shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
No, I got roll call. Councilperson Zabrowski. Umair.
Yes.
Polisi.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Rios.
Yes.
Winarski.
Yes.
Motion to go back into open?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, sorry, roll call.
Councilpersons Novak.
Yes.
Umair.
Yes.
Polisi.
Yes.
Rios.
Yes.
Winarski.
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Yes.
Okay, you want to pull?
Just like to make an announcement that the 2026 municipal budget amendment and adoption has been pulled from the agenda.
Okay, new business?
Introduction of the following ordinances. Ordinance number 14-26, ordinance amending the borough's training requirements for new fire department recruits.
Councilman Blamore?
Move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on July 20th.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Blumer,
Yes.
Palisi,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes.
Snarski,
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Yes.
Ordinance number 15-26, ordinance establishing an 18-month moratorium on the development of data centers throughout the borough of Saraville.
Council President Zabrowski?
Thank you, Mayor. And just before I do introduce the ordinance, just some administrative notation to this, and that is ordinarily when you introduce an ordinance, there is no public participation on that introduction. It's the public participation is at the second meeting when there's approval. I see that there's a lot of folks here this evening, and I assume that most of that has to do with this ordinance. So, Mayor, I'm going to ask that if we can have some public portion for discussion so that
Well,
be there.
I will hold it, but it'll be during the public portion.
The second thing I want to talk about is the construction of the ordinance, because some people may have some confusion as to why it's constructed the way it is. And number one, the ordinance is meant to be a total ban for a period of 18 months. 90% of Saraville at this point, and I'm just using 90%, but with the exception of the properties that are in this ordinance, there is no use for a data center. It does not exist. So in fact, it is prohibited. We are prohibiting for a limited area at this point because that's the area where it was either a permitted or conditional use. And you say, well, okay, why a moratorium or a pause rather than a ban? The reason for that is because it was in fact a use or a conditional use, and property owners have rights, and just as much as a resident does. So to have a moratorium or to have a pause allows the borough to be able to construct an argument, a good strong argument, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, to be able to rely on professionals and rely on others to be able to gather that information. Who's going to gather the information? It's going to be up to us, the mayor and council, and with help from you folks and the information you're going to provide. But I will tell you that Sarah has already begun to have that discussion. I think so. There's been some public knowledge of that. Now, the reason for that is well, that's what Sarah does. It looks at opportunities and it discusses with property owners to work and collaborate. That doesn't mean that anything is coming up in the future or that anything is presently available for that. But that is part of Sarah's job, and the expectation was that we, as commissioners, have already begun to gather some information, and will continue to do so. We've looked out for an energy consultant to be able to get more information. In the next meeting at Sarah, we're going to have someone from the Sierra Club to come in and provide additional information as well. So a lot of work is going to get done. So I just want to kind of clarify the reason for the ordinance, so it doesn't put any fear into our residents that something is impending. And also for you to understand why we're doing it, to do it in such a way, in a bipartisan way. And we all have different reasonings for the process, but at the end of the day, I believe it's a bipartisan reason for doing what we're doing tonight. So just a little added information before you do come up. So, because I know that there is a lot of concern, and I just want to be able to bring it forward as to why the mayor and council is doing it in this fashion. So Mayor, with that, I move the ordinance to be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on July 20th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second. Before I move forward, I have a question for the attorney. If I wanted to put an amendment in, could that be done tonight if it's accepted?
Yes, if it's a material amendment or addition, revision, whatever it may be, you have to do it at introduction, or then it has to thereafter be reintroduced at the following meeting. Only non-material, ministerial typo type thing can be gauged between introduction and final adoption. So if you wanted to make or propose an amendment, you'd have to do it now at the time of introduction.
Okay, in that case, I'd like to,
Wait, there's a motion and a second out there already.
Right, but before we vote on it, there's maybe a motion to amend that ordinance before adoption, so that's.
I'd like to remove the part where it says for a period of 18 months, commencing as of the date of adoption and of ordinance 1526, to be replaced by with data centers shall be prohibited from being developed in all zones throughout the borough, including redevelopment zones.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call on the amendment.
Councilpersons Blumer,
Yes.
Khaleesi.
So what is that meaning? That there's no 18-month coming back
Be
to
a
record,
permanent ban on data centers in the borough.
a permanent, but would that leave it open for, would that leave it?
Closes the door on data centers, Mike.
Okay, so no for now.
Novak.
Yes, for the amendment. And I'd just like to say, an 18-month ban, in 18 months, without any notice to the public, it would just dissolve. You wouldn't even have to bring it back up to the public. By making it a permanent ban in a couple of years, if technology has improved, we can bring it back to the public and vote on it in public. An
Oh, yeah.
18-month ban, just the, people don't even have to be notified. It's just gone.
So that's
I am for
what
the
I was going to
amendment.
get at with the, if there's going to be potential lawsuits for that.
Okay, we're doing a roll call.
All right.
Rios.
Yes.
Donarski.
I'm still learning a lot about the data centers. I am continually upgrading my knowledge about them. There's a lot for me to know yet and a lot for me to learn as far as the power, as far as the water consumption, everything else. I feel the 18 months is more than fine, and my vote is a no.
Zabrowski.
I'm going to vote no, and the reason I vote no is because a permanent ban, without having any study and any real look into this, could put us in a position where we could be into litigation. And the end of the line here is, I do not want a judge deciding whether this is good or bad. I want that decision to be made by the borough itself and its residents. So my vote is no.
Mayor, that's a 3-3 tie.
Okay, I'll vote no. So now the vote for the first public hearing?
Yes, yeah, so then we go back to the motion second, so we go to the roll call on the adoption of the ordinance as without amendment.
Okay.
Councilperson Zabrowski.
Yes.
Blumer.
No.
Khaleesi. On the
This is the way it's
Instruction.
written, Mike.
That's right.
Introduction of the ordinance as drafted without amendment.
Yes.
Novak.
I'm going to vote yes, only because 18 months is better than nothing, but I really am in favor of a permanent ban. Back in 2025, Sarah said that that was their preferred development of that property. So, but in the state of New Jersey, as soon as somebody puts in an application, it's too late. So I want the 18 months to go into effect, and hopefully in the next month, because it's going to take to make this permanent, somebody doesn't put in an application. But I'm in favor of a permanent ban. That's the only way that we actually can bring it back to the public to ask for their permission to change it. With 18 months, it just disappears.
Rios.
So before I vote, and I guess I had a question for the attorney, but I think he answered it, which is we can make amendments to this ordinance now, and I'd like to propose an amendment to extend the moratorium from 18 to 24 months, specifically to give adequate time to review the issue for the next mayor and council. So from 18 to 24 is my proposal amendment.
At this point, we have to finish the vote because the prior motion was made before vote started. So now we're in the middle of a vote on the current ordinance. After we finish this vote, you can make a motion to reintroduce with that amendment at that point.
Would that bring us back to or?
It'll be, you're going to make a motion. This introduction, what will happen is we'll finish the vote. If it passes, this motion, this ordinance will be introduced. Then what you can do is make a motion to reintroduce with an amendment, which is the amendment, I understand, increasing from 18 to 24.
Correct.
And then we'd have a vote on the introduced as amended.
So we'd have
Because then we'd have another vote across.
Yeah, we'd
because
actually have two
procedurally, now we have to finish this vote.
Okay.
And then we can make a motion to reintroduce as amended. If that passed, then it's the version that's been introduced will be the 24 version. If it doesn't pass, then the version with the 18 months will stand if it does pass. Does that make sense? I know it's a
Yeah,
little.
so we wouldn't be losing time.
No, we'll do it tonight. We can do it
Okay.
tonight.
So I am for a complete ban, but like Mary said, 18 is better than nothing. So yes.
Zinarski.
Yes.
Okay, you want to make your introduction?
I'd like to make a motion for an amendment on the ordinance 1526 to extend it from 18 months to 24 months. So that will give us adequate time to review for the next mayor and council.
And just to clarify, it's a motion to reintroduce with that amendment, just for clarifications. Yep, okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Rios,
Yes.
Blumer,
I don't understand the time limit. Because as somebody is in the field, I don't see what's going to magically happen in 2 years. With CPUs, GPUs, that's gonna bring down the need for all the electricity usage and the cooling usage. Because we're all talking about symptoms now, okay? It's gonna make noise, but the problem is the CPUs and GPUs are not being made any cooler. Basically, they will need more as we go along. So nothing's gonna change in 18 or 24 months. So with that, I say no.
Khaleesi,
Yeah, I don't see much of a difference, but I'd like to keep it the same, so no.
Novak,
Yes.
Zinarski,
I'm a no. I like the original 18 months.
Zabrowski,
No.
So procedurally, just so everyone's aware, the ordinance is introduced as the original, as originally drafted and presented at the 18-month.
Okay, next item.
Ordinance number 16-26, ordinance amending the borough's rules and regulations for boroughs, parks, and recreational areas.
Councilman Khaleesi.
I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on July 20th.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Councilpersons Khaleesi,
Yes.
Blumer,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes.
Zinarski,
Yes.
Zabrowski.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open up the public portion for questions or comments on the resolutions. Are there any questions or comments on the resolutions? There being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is only on resolutions, not on general public comment. This is, if you have any questions or comments on the resolutions that are listed on the agenda.
It starts on the first page and continues on the second.
Not on the ordinance. This is only on this portion, public portion is only on the resolutions at this point.
It starts on page 1, all of page 2, and the top of page 3. Those are the consent agenda resolutions.
Do you want to do a motion in one for closing the public and adopting?
I move the following minutes of the mayor and council be,
Oh, the
I'm sorry, I apologize. I move the public hearing be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilperson Zabrowski,
Yes.
Blumer,
Yes.
Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes.
Zinarski.
Yes.
A motion to accept the correspondence that's listed?
Your motion, Council President?
Make a motion they be accepted?
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilperson Zabrowski, Blumer,
Yes.
Khaleesi,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes.
Zinarski.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, we're going to do mayor and council reports, and this week I'm going to start with recreation, Councilman Khaleesi.
Thank you, Mayor. Recreation. First, Recreation invites everyone to join for our America 250 celebration on Friday, June 27th, beginning at 4 p.m. Continuing through the fireworks display at approximately 9:15. This family-friendly event promises an afternoon and evening filled with community spirit, entertainment, and celebration. Free activities will include carnival-style games, inflatables, bungee, trampoline, face painting. Musical entertainment will be provided by Big Hicks, High Energy Country Cover Band. The evening will conclude with spectacular fireworks display, accompanied by a live performance from Garden State Symphonic Band, creating a memorable finale for this special celebration. In addition, the Rec Department is proud to participate in the world's largest swim lesson on June 25th in partnership with the Aquatics and Fitness Center. This worldwide initiative promotes water safety awareness and swimming education. While some sessions have already reached waitlist status, interested participants are encouraged to register as additional capacity is being explored. For those looking to stay active this summer, several sports camps still have openings, including playground games, basketball, volleyball, soccer, lacrosse, field hockey, softball, and flag football. Residents are encouraged to visit the recreation website for schedules and registration information to secure their spots. Finally, registration remains open for our summer tennis and pickleball clinics. These programs provide excellent opportunities for beginners to learn a new sport and experienced players to continue developing their skills throughout the summer. We encourage residents to take advantage of these programs and look forward to seeing everyone this summer. The Human Relations Commission has a Pride Month event on Tuesday, June 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Mickey Sedlec Recreation Building. Join them for a night of community comprehension and connection. We have 2 guest speakers and food, fun, and prizes. On August 31st, excuse me, the commission is partnering with the Rotary Club and the Elks Drug Awareness Program to host an event for International Overdose Awareness Day. Remembering those lives lost due to overdose will share their grief and continuing the fight against drug abuse. And finally, the Human Relations Commission was fortunate to have 2 high school students working with them this year and honored to present them with scholarships as they move on to Rutgers University. So congratulations to Tanishka and Ashani Mandrakar. They were wonderful. They were a wonderful addition to the commission. For cultural arts, I'd like to highlight the tremendous success of our recent Michael Jackson concert. We were thrilled by the outstanding attendance and enthusiastic response from the community. So residents of all ages came together to enjoy an evening of music, entertainment, and community spirit. The event showcased the value of bringing high-quality cultural programming to our borough and demonstrated the strong support our residents have for these family-friendly events. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to our Cultural Arts Council members, borough staff, volunteers, performers, and everyone who helped make the concert such a memorable success. Their hard work and dedication continues to enhance the quality of life for our residents. We are now looking forward to our next exciting event. That's the Bon Jovi Tribute Concert. It will take place this Wednesday, June 17th. So we encourage all residents to join us for what promises to be another outstanding evening of live music and entertainment. Based on the enthusiasm and attendance we experienced at the last concert, we are anticipating another great turnout and a wonderful community gathering. The Cultural Arts Council remains committed to providing diverse and engaging programs that bring our community together, celebrating the art and creating memorable experiences for residents and visitors alike. The Saraville Public Library has once again partnered with Recreation Department to present a new story walk at Kennedy Park along the perimeter of the playground. Residents are encouraged to visit all 18 stations and enjoy that story. Upon completion, participants can stop by the library and share the secret word they have unscrambled to a librarian to receive a special prize. And lastly, the Office of Aging, the Active Adult Center has several upcoming programs for our senior residences. June 20th, June 22nd, there's going to be free health screenings. So pre-registration is required for those wishing to participate. So you can see the girls we presented the proclamation with today at the window. July 1st is Mayor O'Brien's breakfast for seniors that were born between January and August. On July 2nd, the center will hold its annual Independence Day celebration featuring music and a nice lunch. On July 8th, the licensed clinical social worker, Patrice Swarbrick, will present an emotional wellness tools seminar focusing on mental health, stress management, and healthy coping strategies. On July 16th, the center's monthly bus trip will travel to the Pier Village in Long Branch. And then finally, on July 17th, a cybersecurity awareness seminar will be offered for the residents interested in learning how to better protect themselves online. So we encourage residents to contact the Active Adult Center for additional information and registration details for these programs. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Councilman. Water, Sewer, Environmental, Councilman Sinarski.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things on environmental. June 6th, we had a big cleanup at South Amboy Saraville waterfront where the park is. Just want to tell everybody, that's a beautiful park. That's a county park, but everybody from Saraville, South Amboy, you're more than welcome to go there and spend a great day. They got a nice pavilion. They got beaches. You go fishing off the beach. You got to walk around for exercise, baseball fields. There's a lot of activities there, but a lot of people don't really go to. Participants included the Sacred Heart Youth Ministry, the Stallions Track Team, Boy Scouts Troop 96, 7, and 777, the Rotary Club, American Legion Post 68, a lot of council members from Saraville, South Amboy. The mayor from South Amboy was there. They all participated in the cleanup. They cleaned up a lot. Despite the heat, volunteers gave up part of their Saturday morning to help clean the beautify the waterfront. It was great to have so many people come together and serve this event. The strong turnout and positive spirit throughout the morning reflected the pride that residents have in the waterfront and their parks and everything in Saraville and South Amboy. The next one I have is on the Saraville Community Garden. The Community Garden, if anybody takes a ride over there, it's right across from St. Stan's. We'll just walk in, and if there's anybody there, you're more than welcome to go inside and see what the different people are growing. If it's locked, then just walk around the outside. It's a fenced-in area, but you can look through the fence. You can see all the different products that people are growing there. You got a lot of nice things going, from tomatoes to corn to cabbage. Everything is growing right now. So stick a ride over there. As far as the water and sewer, nothing major as far as anything happening in the water and sewer, but I did check with the water and sewer superintendent for data center water. We do not have enough water to put a data center in Saraville, but we have other ways to feed it. So the potable water usage, we don't have that opportunity for that without major construction in town. But there is ways to cool anything that's needed for other routes that we can get the water. So I just wanted to mention that. The water is up to 168 million we produced. That's almost 20% higher than it was 2 months ago because everybody's using their sprinklers now. They're washing their cars, and so we're using a lot more water than we normally do. Then my last one, we had Flag Day, Sunday, June 14th. I was proud enough to go to the Sayreville St. Stan's Knights of Columbus, run a beautiful service there. We had some council members there. It was a great day. We do not have enough people coming out and supporting one of the most important things in Sayreville. We had the next one, we had it at Sunday at the American Legion at MacArthur Avenue. There was maybe 50 people out of 47,000 people. We get 50 people to come to a flag service. They collect the flags in the mailboxes all year. They store them. We had the firemen there. We had all kind of people to listen to the stories from the veterans. And it's so important to me. My father lost his kidney in Korea for this country. I need this. And we can't get the people to come out to support these events. We got to put our priorities first. Our priorities are not in the right spot. That concludes my support, my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Administration and Finance, Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, I'd just like to say, just like everybody else, we had a couple of big increases that are out of our control. One of them was healthcare. Everybody knows that healthcare went up astronomically, and there's very little we can do about that. The other one was we had an $800,000 shortage in our sewer fees. Sewer fees are usually paid for with your sewer and water bill. In this particular case, we weren't collecting enough money, rates went up, usages went up, so we wound up with an $800,000 shortfall. In future years, hopefully, we will get an ordinance together that increases this, because right now, making up the shortfall in taxes is hurting the homeowners more than anybody else. A lot of the water we use doesn't even go into the sewers, the sanitary sewers. We wash cars, we fill pools, we water our lawns. Whereas businesses and industries, 100% of their water is going into the sanitary sewers. Industries with pilots won't even have to make up this $800,000 shortfall. The average homeowner is going to have to do it. We will be taking steps before the end of the year to make sure that this doesn't flow over into next year. But we're looking at ways. The budget was introduced in March. I think it was the 24th at 25.2 cents. Since then, the business administrator and the CFO, along with the finance committee, has brought this down right now to 14.7 cents. Still a lot, too much. We're going to look at it again. We're going to have a finance committee meeting, and then we will have another workshop meeting, which we had today before this meeting. And hopefully by that meeting, we will be able to get a quorum in support of the budget, because right now we're sitting without a budget, which is going to mean temporary tax bills in August if we don't have a budget. So other than that, I'd like to reiterate everything my fellow council people said. Recreation Department is doing yeoman duty. The first night, when I was asked to speak, because I was the oldest serving, not the oldest, the longest serving council person, I was asked to speak, and I really did have to say, I thank God for the weather. He didn't listen to me too much with this one. We had to postpone it for a week, but I'm sure he's going to listen to us Wednesday night. It was so wonderful to see little kids dancing to Michael Jackson songs. I can't imagine how they even knew about it, but then my children told me that a movie just came out, and that's how the new kids, there were people my age up there dancing and moonwalking. It was really a great experience all around, and working with the library, with the recreation, we really do a yeoman job in this town, and that's something that I don't think any of the services that we give the residents of the town that people would be willing to give up all of the extra services. If you look at other towns around us, everything from big garbage pickup to our automated garbage, we have so many services that other towns don't even give. Old Bridge doesn't even pick up garbage anymore. You got to hire your own contractor. So Sayreville has always done its best to make sure that we keep our taxes to the lowest we can, and still provide the residents with all the services they have. And I just wanted to ask Stash, we're still in a water shortfall, aren't we? I mean, we had a nice winter, but we had a terrible spring for water. We're still, should be conserving?
There's some maintenance on the wells that are upkeep but there's enough water there for sure for the rest of Saraville.
Okay, thank you. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
that's
check.
no problem. We don't have that kind of problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Progress, Mayor.
Public Safety, Councilman Blamore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to say my Knicks are champion. Just saying.
What did he say?
Knicks are champions. The fire chiefs would like to thank all the borough entities in our mutual aids that assisted the fire department at yesterday's structure fire on Scott Avenue. Thanks to the quick response, all occupants were taken out of the home and neighboring exposure homes on east side were saved with minimal damage. There were no injuries reported. The fire department urges all residents to maintain working smoke and CO detectors in your homes. These are life-saving devices to alert occupants. On a side note, I always thank first responders, OEM, police, and fire department for all what they do. When I got that call, unbeknownst to them, that was my house that I lived in for 21 years. That went up in flame yesterday. Yes, so this really touches my family, even though the house was full of chemicals where we were in there. But my kids were crying because they saw the pictures and so on and so forth. So once again, I want to say thank you to the first responders and of course our officer present right now. Over the past several weeks, the Saraville Police Department has celebrated several significant accomplishments and community partnerships that reflect our commitment to service, public safety, and community engagement. We are proud to congratulate Patrolman Brendan Alicia and Patrolman Blake Bouchard on their graduation from the Cape May County Police Academy as members of the 60th Basic Course for Police Officers. After successfully completing 22 weeks of intensive training, both officers have officially begun their law enforcement careers, serving the residents of Saraville. We welcome them to the department and wish them continued success and safety throughout their careers. The department also remains committed to preventing impaired driving through education and community partnerships. Members of the Saraville Police Department participated in the ceremony Harmony hosted by the Brendan Tyler Naleski Charitable Foundation. The event raised awareness about the dangers of impaired driving while supporting programs that promote safer roadways. Building upon these efforts, the Saraville Police Department is proud to partner with the Old Bridge Police Department in a collaborative traffic safety initiative focused on reducing impaired driving along the Route 9 corridor. In addition to our public safety initiatives, the department was pleased to help promote Saraville Feeds, a free community dinner hosted by the First Presbyterian Church of Saraville. Finally, members of Saraville PBA Local 98 proudly participated in the 43rd Annual Law Enforcement Touch Run for Special Olympics of New Jersey. Alongside thousands of law enforcement officers across the state, our members carried the flame of hope while raising awareness and support for Special Olympics athletes. The Touch Run continues to be one of law enforcement's most meaningful charitable initiatives, helping provide year-round athletic training, health services, competition, and leadership opportunity to athletes and their family at no cost. We extend our sincere appreciation to our sponsors and supporters who helped make this year's fundraising effort a success. Once again, thank you to OEM, Fire Department, Police Department, and of course, our Mr. Thomas here for helping us with any medical emergencies we may have. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Planning and Zoning, Council President Zabrowski.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item. I met last week with Art Rittenhouse, Chair for the Shade Tree Commission. He had a number of issues that he wanted to talk about, but basically he had asked that an opportunity for members of the Shade Tree to discuss the Shade Tree ordinance with both planning, Sarah, I'm saying not both, but with planning, Sarah, as well as the Board of Adjustment, so that all the members of those boards would have a fine understanding what that's about. I will make arrangements for a presentation for each one of those boards. He had a couple other administrative issues that he had requested as well. I'll share them with Councilman Rios because I believe that you're the liaison afterwards. And otherwise, Mayor, I'm going to send my time back so that we can get to the public portion as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Council President. Public Works, Councilman Rios.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and general public. Thank you all for coming in today. For Public Works, there's no major updates this evening other than to say that our crew continues to work hard every day, responding to issues as they arise and keeping our borough running smoothly. Their work often goes unnoticed, but is greatly appreciated. Shade Tree Commission, I want to highlight a great example of how our Shade Tree Commission serves our community. Little League reached out regarding the new Musco lights installed on Field 1. Because the new poles are significantly taller than the old ones. Trees in the right field were casting shadows during night games, making it difficult for our young players to see the ball. Contacted our tree expert, and within 1 week, the trees were professionally trimmed back. Thanks to the quick response, our kids can now play safely and enjoy the game without that concern. That's government working together to solve a problem for our residents. I want to talk a little bit about Bombers Beyond Cafe. I want to remind everyone that this is the last week the Bombers Beyond Cafe will be open before their summer break. They will reopen on July 6th. This week, they are operating Monday through Thursday from 8 to 12. They have limited inventory as they clear out their current stock before the break. If you haven't visited yet, please stop by what is known as the happiest place in town. You'll get a great cup of coffee and an even better smile. I would also like to invite everyone to a special clap out for our graduating baristas, Dante and Michael, this Thursday, June 18 at 12 p.m. Please come out and help us celebrate these two amazing young men and everything that they have accomplished. At 12. So they're going to have a clap out because they're graduating. Yeah, exactly. I just want to go over real quick at our last meeting. Unfortunately, I was characterized on the record as being rude for promoting an event that falls under cultural arts, a committee that I do not directly oversee. And I want to respectfully address that. I don't believe community engagement should be limited by committee assignments. When an event benefits our residents, supports local organizations, and brings people together, I see it as my responsibility to help promote it, regardless of where it originated. I have always supported initiatives outside of my direct responsibilities because we were all elected to serve all of Saraville, not just our individual committees. If my enthusiasm for promoting community events was perceived as disrespectful, or if Councilman Kalashi felt that I was stepping on his toes in any way, that I sincerely apologize to him. I already spoke to him personally. That was never my intention. My intention has always been to encourage participation, support our volunteers and departments, and highlight the good things happening in our borough. And if we're being honest, I don't think our residents are sitting home wondering which committee sponsored an event. They just want to know where it is, what time it starts, and whether there's going to be any food. I would also like to encourage my fellow council members to do the same. Let's get out of our committee silos and work together to promote, highlight, and celebrate the many great things happening throughout our borough. When one department succeeds, when one event brings residents together, or when one organization makes a positive impact, it reflects positively on all of Saraville. Our residents don't see committee lines. They see one governing body working together for the betterment of Saraville. I believe we should all feel comfortable championing the great things happening through our community, regardless of whose committee they happen to fall under. Having said that, and at the risk of being reprimanded again for promoting an event outside of my committee, I would like to thank the Cultural Arts Committee under Councilman Mike Colace's leadership for a fantastic kickoff to their summer events with the Michael Jackson tribute concert. It was a great example of what can be accomplished when different departments work together. The police department, public works, recreation department, cultural arts volunteers, and many others all played a part in making it amazing for our residents. That event wasn't about one committee or one department. It was about Sayreville coming together to create something special for our community. I appreciate everyone's hard work, and I'm already looking forward to the next event this Wednesday. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to point out, we have a Boy Scout here tonight. If his troop leader would, if the two of you would stand up and explain what the young man, what merit badge he's going for.
Scott Schlafeld with South End Boy Troop 95. My son is currently working on 2 of his Eagle required merit badges. One of them being the communications merit badge, the other citizenship in the community. Both have requirements for him to attend a public meeting where he can gather different points of view being brought up.
Well, thank you for bringing him here tonight. And congratulations on your work towards your Eagle Scout. That being said, I did want to thank Andy Knapp. Every year, Andy Knapp puts together the flag ceremony down at St. Stan's, and he does an excellent job. And he's a good friend of mine, a fellow knight. So Andy, thank you. This Thursday starts the annual St. Stan's Carnival. So we look forward to it every year, and it will undoubtedly be a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. You see people you haven't seen most of the year, and if you bring the kids and the grandkids, it's just good. We did 2 ribbon cuttings this week. One was the new business down in the ShopRite Plaza. It's called Kids, Kidz.
Hyper Kids.
Hyper Kids, and that's no joke.
Yeah.
So it's about 15,000 square feet inside. It's divided by the age group of the child. So you bring your children, you bring your grandchildren. I know Mary brought one of her grandchildren for the ribbon cutting, and then brought her inside. Kid had a great. I asked Mary. I said, "Did she go home tired?" And what was the answer, Mary?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So tired, she brought another grandkid.
Yep. They brought 2.
And then we did a ribbon cutting at a new pool supply down in the strip mall, the Quick Check strip mall by the steel mill. Mike, what's the name of that company?
Abe Pools.
ABEE?
ABE.
And these are people, they came from Brazil, they've been here, they're on their 3rd or 4th house, entrepreneurial. So to the best of our ability, let's support him. I'm gonna change the meeting because you are a long-suffering audience tonight. And I'm gonna go to the public portion so that those who wish can speak their piece and go home to their loved ones. So with that, I am going to open the public portion. You're the first guy, so come on up. You. All right. And any and all issues, there's a 5-minute limit. All right. And you need to state your name and address.
Rick Zinner, here on Patton Drive.
Okay.
I've got a couple questions. You all know that data center,
I can't.
I said, everybody knows that the data center has nothing positive from the data center. It's going to use the water. You said they're going to get the water from someplace else. That's baloney. You know that. We run out of water now. Don't water your lawn. Don't wash your cars. I pump out of the lake. My sewer bill is twice my water usage. I can't figure that out. I got a $60 water bill, $120 sewer bill. You're saying we're short on sewer money. I don't understand that. If you're paying more for sewer than water usage, who came up with that plan? And the other thing is, you're talking about everybody having a good time, be safe, we're gonna let down the park, enjoy yourself. And yet you say no when they're gonna put in a facility that's gonna pollute the air, use all the water, noise production, everything that's bad, you turn it down, but you say, come out and be safe and have a good time. And the same thing, everybody come down there, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we got plenty of water. We don't, you know that, if it don't rain, the apartments aren't even set up yet. We got all these new apartments being built, they're not even filled. You got the Arsenal project, nobody's in there. You keep saying everything we do is gonna have a tax benefit, not for us. I haven't seen our taxes go down yet. With every new thing that is coming into town, I have not seen our taxes go down. And everything's supposed to be tax benefits. Let them come in, they're gonna do this. Let them come in, they're gonna do that. When has our taxes gone down? With all these new projects coming into town, the apartments, the buildings, the warehouses, when has our taxes gone down? You all know about the data center. It's in your flyer there. There's nothing good about it. And yet, there's going to be a moratorium instead of a total cancellation. You're supposed to be here to take care of the people of Saraville. That's why you guys are voted in. Now, if you do this after the next election, maybe we'll have a council that says no. You know, so we're going to do this before the next election. It's be the same guys voting the same way. That's wrong. Nobody wants it. You say nobody came out for the flag thing. All the people that came out for this, they're being ignored. So you're making a big deal out of people don't show up. Well, we showed up. And where's it getting us? You're still voting us down. So, yeah, it just makes no sense. I mean, you got a comment? You got something, you know, like, prove me wrong? Really, I mean, it should be a discussion here, not just me babbling.
This is your opportunity to talk. We defer to you for this. That's why we don't engage in the conversation. Not that we don't want to have it, but we defer to you for your opportunity.
No, when you originally said that open to the public because everybody was here for the same thing, I thought that was great. But then when it came time to vote and you said no, I thought, well, that wasn't so great. And when you said permanent ban, I thought good. And it went around, got turned down. You said 24 months, which made sense. And that got turned down. So everything that made sense to us got turned down by you. So I don't understand, like, why is it even being considered? Why is a data center even being considered? Why don't they have an ordinance that say no data center? We don't need it. What's it going to do for the town? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McQuaid, you had your hand up? Yes, I saw your hand up. Come on up.
How you doing? My name is John P. McQuaid III. I live on 108 Deerfield Road. I'm a union member from 456, and all these myths about these data centers, unless you go and see one, you don't know what you're talking about. I got a little letter here. Piscataway has 9 data centers. 100% of Piscataway's taxable income, 39% comes from commercial buildings. One building, Digital Realty, pays 28% of that. A data center pays 28% of the taxes. Data centers pay $250 per square foot, when places like Walmart only pay $80 to $100 per square foot. There is no traffic with data centers, no kids in the school system, no police problems such as like Walmart with shoplifting or any other problems.
Wait.
I just told you that 39% of the thing, yeah, their taxes went down. They're second lowest in Middlesex County. Digital Realty pays $16 to $18 million in taxes. Is there any place pays $16 to $18 million in taxes in Saraville?
Not yet.
Well, that's something to consider. We're talking about taxes. You want your taxes to go down, you need ratables. Now, there's nothing, you go past the data, I'll show you where data centers are, you don't even know where they're there. The noise is a bunch of bull crap. Maybe when they're running the generators, there's noise, but besides that, all those walls are double insulated. There is no noise.
Again, I have to disagree, but go ahead. Sorry.
Listen, you're in a fishbowl. I work in the ocean. You are talking about a data center in a hospital. I'm talking about Morgan Stanley. I know I did it for 20 years.
Data center in a hospital?
Yeah, that's where you said you worked, right?
Yeah, I work in a hospital. That's gone. Everything now is in the cloud. That's what data center is. Everything is in the cloud because all your data is stored away from that's what data center is. You
tell me
can
what you
build,
do, I'll tell you what I-
just because you're in construction doesn't mean that you actually work in data centers. To tell me that there are no noise, that proves that you have no idea what you're saying. No noise?
You have to walk into the data center to hear the noise. You
No,
can't hear it outside.
no, sir. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sir.
No, you
Why
don't have to.
All you council people, go to a data center, have a
Why
tour.
would I need to go to a data center when that's what I do?
Because you're voting on it. When do you want to, when
Wait,
you go to a
wait.
butcher shop to get a piece of meat, or you got,
Wait. We can only do one person at a time. Mr. McQuaid, if you would continue.
they build berms. There's 9 data centers in Piscataway. Why don't you go see one? Why don't you a lot of you people have never seen a data center. You act like you're an expert. You're not an expert.
Oh, no, I'm not. All
know
I
you
know,
aren't.
I know I'm not, but you have to remember, and most of the problems also, I'm not even bringing up. So you keep talking about taxes, this, taxes, that. What about quality of life? My house that just burned down, that was a cancer-causing area. There's no way a data center should be here. And I'm not an expert to talk about the health, your health, because based on my research, it also affects that. So anything that's gonna, have anything to do with your health, that's important. But for you to stand there and say there are no noise because you can walk in, and then when that's one thing that everybody knows that there is a lot of noise, not just from the servers themselves, but the fans to keep the data center itself cooled. And then you talk about the walls and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter because of the fact that the main thing that's causing all that heat, the CPUs and the GPUs, there's no way you can.
Where the systems now are a closed system. It's like you're radiating your car. They get the water in there and they don't take the more water from the town.
No, that's a different thing.
That's
And
a
the
cooling system.
water from your aquifer will be affected. Do you believe that companies would actually tell you they're only using this much water and they're actually doing that? Okay, but no, of course we all know what's happening. Again, I don't want to talk about that part of it because that's not where my expertise is. But I'm talking about just the noise. But for you to stay there and stand here and say there are no noise unless you go inside, that makes no sense.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
Okay.
I'll take you to one in the one. Go to Piscataway. There's 9 of them there. It was so bad they would have banned it from there.
I don't need to go to one because again, unless
You don't need to go to one. Then how can you vote on something you don't know? You don't want to take no one
I
else to
don't
go
know
see?
anything about it. All I know is the next best thing is that they've been built in the ocean now. But that's how much coolant that they need. That's what the next step is. Okay?
That's all I got to say. I think it's all positive for town. There's no traffic like you have traffic now. There's no 2 cars per apartment. It's all rateable.
Thanks, John. From this, yes, come up, please. If you'd state your name and address, please.
Carrie Kenny, Garrity Street in the Morgan section of Cerebral. I appreciate Mr. Zabrowski requesting a discussion on a first reading, which is not usually the norm. But I have to say that you all had the perfect opportunity to protect our environment with a total ban. And I'm not sure why all the information found in a simple Google search isn't enough. And I wonder why we worry about litigation unless someone has already been promised something. That being said, Cerebral is where I was raised and where I chose to raise my family. Already, this place bears little resemblance to the beautiful town it once was. Everywhere you look, there's construction or traffic or a new housing development or a warehouse. We've decimated our greenery and bulldozed any natural beauty that we ever had. To quote Joni Mitchell, we've paved paradise, but for more than just a parking lot. And now a data center, possibly, which is an added strain to our already overworked systems. How foolish I was to think that all the new electrical work going on in Morgan around me was for the benefit of the residents and to avoid the numerous outages that we all already experience and not a precursor to what may come. My personal feelings about how detrimental I think AI is aside, the cons of any data center, such as the high water usage and the power grid strain and the noise pollution and the limited economic benefits and the poor aesthetics and everything that you actually have listed right here in this ordinance, far outweigh any pros that I can think of, which actually are none. I would like to think that someday you will all be sitting here talking about and arguing about maybe where we could plant a tree in this town, maybe have some open space or make something a little bit more beautiful, because this town has not any resemblance of the place I grew up.
Someone, Bob, you have someone? You have someone? Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Bob, for letting me go first. First, a quick question for Mary in regards to the tax increase.
Oh,
that you
Bill,
had.
your name and address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bill Henry, Orchard Street. Quick question on the tax increase you have right now. How much does that represent on an average home of, what was it, $147,000?
I think it's something like $212 a year on the average home. Am I correct on that, Danielle? Yep. 215. I was off $3.
250. All right, thank you. Mayor and council, I support an immediate and total ban on data centers in Saraville. Residents have made clear their concerns, and I have not seen meaningful support for allowing data centers in our town. According to Councilman Zabrowski's poll, 84% of the residents said no to data centers, while only 3% were in favor. Given the overwhelming opposition, the council should act now and move forward and with a total ban on data centers. Let the people decide. Saraville belongs to the residents, and the elected officials are responsible for representing the will of the people. If the council is not prepared to enact an immediate ban, then the residents should have the opportunity to vote on the issue through a referendum in November. Let's stop the political game playing. I ask the mayor and council to respect the clear opposition of Saraville residents and either pass a total ban on data centers or place a question before voters in November. If indeed you wanted to put a referendum on the ballot this year, you would need to pass a motion tonight. Thank you.
Yes, is there somebody from my right side here who would like to speak or make a comment? Eloy, come on up. I'll get you next, Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hopefully what I'm about to talk about is a little less controversial than what most people are speaking about. First of all, Councilwoman Novak, I owe you an apology. Last time I was here, we were discussing another item and you brought up our veterans, and I thanked you directly, but I didn't use your name like I did with some of the other council people. So I want to clear the air on that. First, Councilman Rios, you came out and supported our car show last year, and I want to thank you for that. Councilman Blamure, hopefully I got that right. We haven't had an opportunity to work for our veterans, but hopefully in the future, we can count on your support. Councilwoman Novak, you, Council President Zambrowski, Councilman Sinarski, Councilman Khaleesi, and our mayor. The five of you have shown extraordinary efforts towards our veterans each and every day, and not when it's election time and not when the cameras are there. All of you have come and donated repeatedly to various causes when the cameras aren't there, when the public isn't there, and they don't see you. That means something. And I know for the four of you, this is far more than an issue that affects our community. It's personal to you and to each and every one of you. Anyone who just heard Councilman Sinarski's speech and has ever heard him speak understands the passion and what this means to you personally. And I know it's the same for Council President Zambrowski, Councilman Khaleesi, Councilwoman Novak, and our mayor. So I want to thank you as president of the Rotary Club for all of your support that you've given to our veterans. It means so much, and I think you should all be recognized, and I thank you for what you do for our veterans.
Thank you, Eloy.
Thank you.
Dan?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Dan Buchanan, Morgan Section of Saraville. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you, Councilman Rios. That was a great speech you gave, and apology. You don't see that often up here, so thank you for your expression. Councilman Sinarski, yes, it was a great job with the waterfront park. And I'm sure Jay will back me up on this. That park is in Saraville. So it is a golden part of Saraville. So I would encourage you guys to possibly put a sign up saying, "Welcome to Saraville" as you enter that park. I know that's been controversial in the past, but truth be told, you are in Saraville.
I was going to bring it up that it is in Saraville.
Also with that, with the environmental, you'd mentioned, the data center not using borough water. I'm sure that would have to be in some sort of ordinance rather than them any kind of agreement. I am opposed on the face value of data centers being what you've heard regarding the water usage, the noise pollution, the electric usage. You go on Facebook, any social media, you see there's sections of town out constantly. This is just going to happen even more and more, especially as it gets hotter out now. You're going to need to cool them down quicker. You're going to need to cool them down faster. I was hopeful that when we heard you wanted to educate yourself more on these data centers, that the 24-month would have sufficed. Personally, I think it's better to be more restrictive on it. And once the data comes out, you could have always amended the ordinance to allow for that. Rather than this ordinance just disappearing in 18 months and your hands are tied, our hands as taxpayers are tied. I don't like the idea. I don't know the section that they're talking about building it in. I can't imagine over in Morgan, there's not much room over there anymore. I know labor's here, and we've always encouraged, and I hated when former Councilman Olszewski came up when I was on council but when I was on council, we did encourage having project labor agreements. So whatever project goes there, whether it's a data center or whatnot, I'm sure this council and any council would encourage having unionized labor do the work. And I encourage you guys to continue that trend up there, having organized labor do whatever project it is, not necessarily a data center, because again, I disagree with them. I not just me, it's like the survey said, 80% of them. So between, wanting more education, learning more about it, we don't know about it. None of us really, I'm sure, know the ins and outs of it. But it's a lot to take on right now, and our neighboring towns are turning it down. One of the arguments I heard was about getting sued. I don't agree with that. If we're not going to get sued if we have an ordinance, or you can get sued for having an ordinance. It doesn't matter. Nobody said anything about suing the borough when the council voted against having marijuana dispensaries in town. But yet we banned them, or they were banned back in a few years ago. So this too would be the same way. If somebody wanted it and it wasn't there, they would go for the variances for it or sue the town and get it, whether it was allowed or not. So it's easier to ban it and, let them come after you rather than, again, letting this ordinance lapse. I'd hope that you guys would reconsider this ordinance before the end of the night and amend it to ban it fully so that the residents have that opportunity and you have that opportunity to study it more. And if time comes and you can see that it's okay and it's safe and it's not impactful, then so be it. Create an ordinance to allow it. Lastly, we hear about taxes being good, and as a fortune teller, I bet you, as I heard in the back, I heard before, dollars to donuts, that the council mayor will give them a pilot, which would then not help the school districts out at all. And it's a crying shame that the kids will be hurt again. Thank you for your time.
Hey, Dan, just a correction. Councilman Zabrowski and I have been in great and lengthy discussions with Eloy Fernandez, the president of the Board of Ed, about sharing the pilots on capital projects. So that statement is incorrect that you just made.
A pilot's a pilot, Mayor, and it's up to you guys to have that kind of agreement.
Correct. And we have been in many discussions about it. Just last Wednesday, I was invited by the mayor of Piscataway and by a number of the state IBEWs, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the different locals, to come to Piscataway, where I was joined with mayors from throughout the state of New Jersey, senators, assembly people, county commissioners, and it was explained to us the building that Mr. McQuaid was talking about was an old Sealy mattress warehouse, or I don't know whether it was just a warehouse or manufacturing. And one of the questions I asked was, how much traffic does it put on the street? It's on South Randolphville Road. I didn't even know what it was, and I'd been going through that area for 50 years. And I was told that the local fire department of Piscataway allows 150 cars, and most of the time there's far less at that facility. So you have, if you take a huge rectangle, in the center of the rectangle is a room that's elevated, I believe, about 3 feet off the floor, and it's graded. And in that room are the different servers. And so the cool air is blown up through the floor. I guess I'm simplifying this, and tradesmen, correct me if I'm wrong. The cool air comes up from below, goes over the servers, cools them down, is captured in the ceiling, and it goes through the process again. They explain the closed loop water process. Sayreville, we use the gray water from the MCUA. The MCUA, Sash, how many gallons a month or a day do they dump of 100 million a day? All right, so the MCUA dumps 100 million gallons a day into the lower Brereton Bay of sanitary water. The gray water is a level of sanitary water that is currently piped over to this area to be used in the power generation stations that are there. And it's used for this purpose, not the fresh water. Mayor Whalen told me that they were putting in, he said, first of all, Piscataway is a mobile communication center. Is that right, Jason? It's a mobile communication center. He said, that's the business that they try to attract. He is building a super data center, and apparently what that requires is most data centers, you have to have 2 sources of electricity. It's called the redundant supply. This super center, you need 4. And I asked the mayor, I said, Mayor, who makes this electricity? And he said, it's all the same company. He said, what makes this different is it comes from 4 different grids. I'm not an electrician. I take out the instructions to put in light bulbs. But that being said, he says that the data centers have made a financial big difference in Piscataway, rather, that they have invested heavily into Piscataway's grid, which has improved the electrical service. This is early days. We're looking at this, as is our due diligence is required to look at for the better use. And we are using the financial tools that the state legislature created to help us attract that business. There is so much misinformation about pilot programs, about water, about data centers, about this whole thing. It's just a tremendous amount of misinformation. The one key question I asked the people in this room, the mayors, the senators, the people in this business, I said, it's my understanding, I'm beginning to hear rumors that because China is so far behind the United States in data centers, that they are funneling money here to spread this information. And I was told in no uncertain terms, it's a very true statement, and that there is investigations going on tracking the money. So the United States leads the world in these AI data centers, and these countries don't want that, and they are doing their best so that the United States defeats itself. I believe that. There's not, every bone in my body believes that. The rest of it, I went in the server room. Yeah, the server room is noisy, but it's surrounded by these really tremendously long corridors, which are completely silent. Where I parked the car to go into the data center, they have backup generators. And what I'm told is when there's an issue with the grid, the generators kick in and they're a little noisy. He said, I don't know whether it's never happened, but it's a rare occurrence. He said several times a year they have to do maintenance on these generators and they start it up. The law in Piscataway is they can't run more than 40 hours a year. So there are safeguards. I've charged the Environmental Commission to review it, investigate it, all right? And I gave the instruction, you're to find out first how we can make this work. If you can't find out how to make it work in Sayreville, then we'll have a second discussion about doing something to prohibit them. I said, but first, we owe it to ourselves to find out if we can make it work, if we can make it quiet, if they can use, instead of the 100 million gallons a day of sewage going into the Raritan Bay, that we use some of it to cool something here. But this is, once every 100 years, a town has the ability to reinvent itself. And with Hercules, after 125 years leaving Sayreville, that's a 400-acre site. The current owners of that property want $200 million an acre. All right. We cannot, there's no possible way the borough could buy that. It just could not. It's just so far out of our financial scope. So we have the opportunity to work with the property owner on what goes there. And that's where you use the pilot. So you understand a real quick primer on a pilot. The schools are given grants and they're given financial assistance on their operational costs, meaning salaries, the rest, that's an operational cost. The borough, the towns are not given that by the legislature. We're given money for projects to build a building, to restore something. So what we're looking at is the ability to help the schools rebuild their 60-year-old schools, rebuild, refurbish, expand. And we're looking, we have capital costs, capital projects of our own that we would like to do, except we don't have the money. This is a potential, and I want to say it, a potential source for that money. So what I'm asking everybody to do is to have the patience and the courtesy to allow us to explore it. And then when we have all the information, it will be presented. It's not going to be a 12 o'clock midnight council meeting where three of the people are on vacation or something like that, and it'll be a slam dunk, that would be wrong, and we're not here to do these, to behave in that manner. But we are here to do our due diligence and to find out exactly what's going on. You know, after last Wednesday that I visited this place, I'm going, you know, there's so much misinformation, whether it's going to cause your air conditioner to go out in the summer, or, you know, it's a very doom and gloom scenario. So if you're a country that wants to compete with the United States and you feel that you need every edge you can get, you spread this misinformation. And I believe that to the core of my being, that this misinformation deliberately is frightening people and it's making them say, make my fear go away. Has nothing to do with the truth, but they've been very good at spreading misinformation. And I think there's a lot of misinformation that goes around and people hear it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and then they accept it as truth. It's not true. Is there anyone from Labor that would like to speak on this issue? Jason, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, Council President, Council members.
Jason, if you'd say your name and you're at where you live.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Jason Friedman, 3 Northfield Avenue, East Brunswick, New Jersey.
And your job?
I'm a senior representative for the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, AKA the Carpenters Union, in and around the area. I have a few comments to make. I first want to start off by thanking and saluting Sayreville for being a good partner in labor and helping blue-collar men and women. Myself, when I was a younger man, worked here in Sayreville. My son, who lives here in town as a young man in the trades, is earning a living. And that's part and parcel of the history of the work that this council has done over many years. So thank you all for that. I'd also like to mention that your air conditioning in the room is unbelievable. I could not sit anymore in the back. I was shivering. It was 70-something degrees when I came in this evening, and I'm like 50 degrees back there now. So hats off to you and your HVAC folks. I made it the business of mine to come here tonight for a couple of reasons, mostly because the past couple of years, the carpenters, organized carpenters in this region have pointed me at the data center market, exploring it, understanding it. What does it mean for working people? What does it mean for our membership? And so I've developed a certain amount of expertise on that. Also being a neighbor and from the area. And I would just say that also as someone who's done some government service, served on redevelopment agencies in East Brunswick and currently serving on the planning board for our county, I understand some of the position that you're in and can appreciate it. It was Mark Twain that said, you know, a lie is up and around the world before the truth has its shoes tied, or something similar to that. So I would just encourage you to take time to do your deliberations. Take into account the facts beyond what a simple Google search or what a Facebook comment might read, because I think the proud industrial heritage and history of your town is really valuable, and you could be sitting here with a goose waiting to lay the next golden egg for you all. You know, a modest-sized piece of digital infrastructure, which is the backbone of modern living, the backbone of the nervous system of modern living, could provide rateable taxes to your community in tens of millions of dollars. That is really, really helpful. It could really be helpful. Piscataway is a tremendous example, local to our county. I've traveled as far as Virginia and West Virginia, and Delaware and Maryland in my duties for the organization which I work for. I can tell you Loudoun County, Virginia, for all the hue and cry you hear about it, they're cleaning up. 93% of their county taxes are paid just by that industry. Data centers, digital infrastructure, 93% of it. one of the richest counties in these United States. One of the richest counties in these United States, in a very wealthy part of the world. Okay? They're not making mistakes. They're doing things right. And it's not without controversy. But what hasn't been without controversy? You know, the Meadowlands was controversial when they built it. The Parkway was controversial when they built it. Anything new is always going to face a lot of scrutiny and questions. Take your time, do your deliberations. I hope you lean into the future, lean into prosperity, and take advantage of the opportunity that's before you. And thank you very much tonight for the audience.
Thank you, Jason. Anyone else? Ken, you had your hand up?
Ken Olszewski, Saraville. I'm not an expert on data centers. Told you that before at this microphone. But I do a lot of reading, a lot of following the issue, and I do a lot of following of Wall Street. Data centers, you've got the water problems, the power problems, the noise problems. The only thing more unpopular than data centers in the state of New Jersey is probably the bubonic plague. Now, I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure why so many people can be wrong and don't want it. It's not only the state of New Jersey. It's the state of Bangor, Pennsylvania. It's all over. So I can't imagine all these people are against this just for the sake of being against something. And when it comes, let's look at our own town. All this stuff you're talking about here tonight, we got the same story down when we talked about the warehouses on Cheesequake. They were going to solve so many of our problems. We had people at the planning board meeting where that was approved. When I went to the planning board meeting that night, I was walking in the door. One of the planning board members said, "You can get up," not to me, I just overheard it. "You can get up and say anything you want tonight. This is passing." We got up and talked about the problems with the Cheesequake warehouses. We had a truck driver who's driven for 35 years, said it's never going to work to get those rigs out into the highway where they need to go. They ignored it and passed it. Mayor, you had a bunch of people here. You had all of your friends from Woodbridge here when it came to these Cheesequake warehouses. They were going to be so great. Now we're talking about big tax increases. Where's the money? What happened to the money?
Hey, Ken, I think that must have been a twin because there was a 4-year period where I was taking care of a sick wife when those things were introduced and passed. I had nothing to do with the Cheesequake warehouses.
I didn't say you had anything to do with them.
I'm just correcting you.
Some of the trust level, why it's not there. You had something to do with bringing all your friends from Woodbridge when it came to talking about those Cheesequake. I sat here for those Cheesequake warehouses.
They were built.
They were built. They were here to say how you had to give them the tax break. You had to give them the pilot.
Now, Ken, you are the most misinformed guy I've met in a long time. Honest to God.
Misinformed guy? I sat here while it happened, Mayor.
You are,
Well, the line that you keep giving us over and over, misinformed. Councilman Sinarski talked about why we can't get more public participation. Well, tell me, why you can't get public participation? Isn't this public participation? How about, Mayor, when you cut back and tried to go to a 3-minute public portion? How about when you cut the Zoom meetings and you still don't have a Zoom meeting and the elevator's not working and you want public participation? How about when, Mayor, you called the people at the meeting, dopey people with no lives, for coming to the meeting? I'm embarrassed to say that in front of them. I'm proud to have Boy Scouts here. I'm embarrassed to say that in front of them. That some of the things that went on. Maybe you don't have a very good memory, Mayor. You don't seem to remember it. And how about when people at this microphone, you brought the police up to escort them to their seats? Is that conducive to public participation? Let me ask you that. Does anybody understand that? Yeah, there's no confidence. I can go on and on. I can talk, Mayor.
I know you can talk, Ken.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
an established
I'm glad
thing.
you know I
That's
can talk.
established.
I can spend a lot of time talking about the affordable housing and what happened there and the fiasco. I'll do it at the next meeting where I get my 5 minutes. I've got to watch it.
Okay,
But I want to
good.
close. I know you won't give me any more time like you give other people,
No.
but I want to close. By talking about a quote, some quotes tonight from President Lincoln when he said, "You can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all the time." And that's what you're trying to do. Thank you very much.
Bob, you want to come up? Bob, well, the other Bob, do you want to come up? Different Bob. Come on up. You had your hand up.
Bob Egan, Cerebral. I wasn't going to come up, but little fact check. Right, you weren't here when the warehouses were approved. But when the pilots were turned down by the council, it was you that brought people in from Woodbridge and everything to overturn that and change that around again.
How did I bring people in from Woodbridge to overturn it?
The same way that you said that we orchestrated coming up and talking about the pilots. You brought somebody, a business agent from a union in Woodbridge here and saying how great it was going to be for the taxes. So
It was.
everybody has
How
a
mu-
short
How
memory.
much came in this year?
If it was not for the pilot revenue, the increase would be 7.3 cents.
We brought in, what, 1 million? How much?
1.75.
No, how many millions?
1.7.
1.75 in pilot payments for those new warehouses. I'm not sure what, Danielle, you have something off the cuff, what they would be without?
No, I was telling you.
4 million.
Our total revenue,
$100,000.
our total revenue from pilots was 1.75 million. Without that revenue, it would be 7.3 cents more.
Yeah, but you gotta, it's a hard way. They pay. I'll have you sit with somebody, Bob, and they'll go over the math with you. They pay because we get about 80% of the value, whereas before we got less than 20%. We got about 20%. And that is the tool that the state legislature created for the borough, for the municipalities. We didn't create the pilot. The state legislature did so that we could self-fund what we needed. There's this misnomer that somehow we're all whacking up the proceeds of the pilot. We're not. It's going to stabilize taxes. Let's use that word. Reducing
If they're
taxes.
going to stabilize taxes, how come we're looking at an increase in our taxes?
Hey, Bob.
I mean, I'm not looking at an increase in our taxes
All right,
because
Bob.
my taxes are frozen. But that doesn't
Okay.
mean I don't care that the taxes are going to go up or down.
Okay. Thanks, Bob. Anything else?
Obviously, you still don't get it that you were the one that came back and turned around the vote on a pilot with the council. And I'm sure Mary can vouch for that.
If pilots are so bad, why are they used diligently throughout the state? The other thing, everybody that comes up here as an expert on pilots, I'm really curious which boards that you are appointed to discuss the New Jersey pilot program, because they really want to, you have so much to add to it. I don't think you've spent enough time understanding the pilot. What you do is you join this gang that is against any and all changes. And I
No,
don't
I'm not
think, I
against
don't think
changes.
that's
But what I
good for
do, I have
Sayreville.
read articles that said that the pilot programs aren't being what they cracked up to be also.
Well, please bring me the articles, because if they're not what they're cracked up to be, if Mayor McCormick in Woodbridge has had it wrong for the last 25 years, and he's got 80 pilots going at one time, and Woodbridge has a pretty stable tax rate, I want to give my friend Mayor McCormick a call and say, you're doing it all wrong according to Bob Egan.
All right, fine. You've also had people up here that are more financially adept, and were saying that we were going to have losses of so
I'm
many
here to
million
learn.
over the
I'm
time
here-
period.
Nobody knows it all.
And I'm not claiming, but I just came up to fact check the fact that you had nothing to do with the pilot programs. When you came back as mayor, you overturned.
I came back 2.5 years ago.
And in that time frame, that's when the pilots were originally turned down. And then all of a sudden they found a letter in a drawer someplace saying that they applied for them. And then all of a sudden it was turned around again. Have a nice night. It doesn't matter what people say. You'll do what you want anyway.
Okay. Bob Davis? Bob?
I'll go, Mayor. This young lady would like to speak.
Ah,
I just want to make.
But you got to come up, Bob. Young lady? Yes.
I just got to come here. I just want to be clear about something.
You say, if you'd identify yourself.
Bob Davis, 4 Eugene Boulevard. I just want to be clear. Somebody made a comment earlier that the construction workers, et cetera. See you guys in that back row? We're all residents of Cerebral, okay? We're here as concerned citizens.
Thank you for coming
That's all.
out. Young, the data center girl.
I wasn't thinking I was coming here tonight, but Judy Larman, 146 Pulaski. As you know, I've lived here my whole life. The property that they're looking to redevelop, it's going to get redeveloped one way or another,
Right.
right?
Right.
So as a resident, I would like to see, I don't want more warehouses or more housing. We have enough traffic in this town as it is. Data centers don't employ a lot of employees. And like I told you, I've worked with them for the last 20 years. So even though I retired in December, I still have some connections. So I called Verizon. You can't get into a data center on a tour. So I tried to, facilitate one, but I did get in touch with the business agent of IBW 102. He called me back. He works for Digital Realty in Piscataway, and I know those data centers because Bloomberg has data centers there. But I wish I brought my notes because Mikey Sherrill, he told me about the 4 pillars, right? So she's looking into those 4 pillars of how to decide whether we should build data centers in the state of New Jersey or not, right? Which I thought was a great idea. And a couple things that I'm just thinking off the top of my head was the noise. He told me there's one data center in Vineland that has 2 turbo engines that are running prime. And that's what the whizzing sound is down in Vineland, New Jersey. I'm sure they're going to correct that eventually. But I know they were saying, you had said about these servers making noise for 3 miles, right? You said you can hear the service from 3 miles away.
Said you could hear the noise on 3 miles.
Right. So I would think after the last time I spoke here, I thought about it. I think if I walked through a data center and the noise was that loud, I would have to wear earplugs walking through that data center.
So are you saying that the residents are going to be walking through a data center or
No, but
so nobody here is going to be walking through a data center, maybe me, maybe you, maybe him, that, because, and
Right.
what kind of servers are you using, by the way? But anyway.
Anyway, these are
but-
large data centers that I work for.
Yes, of course they are large,
Right.
but the thing is, you guys are the first person I'm hearing that says that you don't hear any noise. Okay, remember the whole idea, it's not even the servers themselves because they run quieter, a lot quieter now.
Right.
But it's the fact that they need to be cooled. Okay, and when they need to be cooled, it's the noise you're hearing is from the fans of the cooling system to keep them cool. Now, if we're having a discussion and then you can stand here and tell me that there are no noise, end of discussion, that means I don't know anything I'm talking about. Because that's the first time I've ever heard that data centers produce no noise. I've never
The
heard.
only noise I can tell you that you probably would hear is if they lose utility power and the standby generators have to start.
Okay.
And they do have a lot of redundancy and they do test them monthly. So,
Yeah, but again, yes, they do all of that, of course, and they're
Right.
gonna build it in a certain way. It's gonna be this, is gonna be that. But the main thing is, all these processors need to be cooled. If you were to have a new processor that requires only a third of the cooling power of the electrical power, then we can talk. But until that happens, there's nothing to discuss. If you're telling me that there are no noise, then okay, and I'm sorry, my bad, I apologize, I don't know what I'm talking about. Because it's impossible for there not to be any noise. Okay, now when you go in the server room, you're gonna hear the noise, of course, all the lights, beep, beep, blah, blah, and so on and so forth. But the noise comes from the apparatus that they use to cool off the whole data center.
okay, so right now in Piscataway, is there any complaints there about data center
Oh,
noise?
but listen, I'm no longer having this discussion because what happens is,
Wait a minute, she asked me a question. What the mayor told me was they're from an environmental, they're right on point. He gets no complaints. All right, he's building more. He wants Piscataway to be identified as this communication hub and data being, when I was in the server room, which was enormous,
Mhm.
I'm looking around at it and I look at Mayor Whalen and I said, this is simple business. This is electricity in and data out. And he looked back at me and he said, exactly, that's the whole business.
Right.
They put electricity in, it converts it to data, and the data goes out, the lines, the outlines. It doesn't appear to me, it's probably immensely technically complex, but from a business perspective, it's just electricity in, data out, and away you go. But in the vast server room that I was in, yeah, you have the noise of the servers, you have the air handlers, but in the hallway right next to it, until they opened the door, you didn't hear a thing.
Right.
And outside, I parked the car next to the building, you didn't hear a thing. It was a mattress warehouse before they made it a server thing. And what I'm saying is, we owe it to our job is to find the higher and best use.
Right.
And help the property owner develop, it's gonna be developed.
I know.
It is gonna be developed and these data farms are gonna go somewhere.
Can I just say one
And-
more thing?
Yeah.
I know just by working with them, the state of New Jersey and the building management companies that manage all those data centers
Yeah,
follow strict rules through the state and the EPA. I mean, I gave them so much information to apply for permits on runtime and pollution and I can't even sit here and tell you all the stuff that goes into it, but they are probably the most strictest run facilities out of all the facilities that I dealt with.
what I haven't heard is since we talked about taking part of that 100 million gallons a day that gets dumped into the bay
Mhm.
and using it to cool these servers, the water problem has been satisfied as far as I can tell, because nobody's saying, well, I want it dumped in the bay. Yeah, use it, it's a higher and better use for the gray water.
Right.
And I really do believe that there are forces at work that would like the United States to slow down its data center building so that other countries can get a leg up. I don't think that's in our national interest. I have my friends and my neighbors sitting here who make their living building these things. It's not in my neighbor's interest, my friend's interest, that I sit here and say, you don't count because of all this information. We need to get We need to be able to separate the misinformation from the correct information and say, this is a higher, better use, and in order for it to be a higher and better use, it has to hit these 10 points, which is pretty standard business. Or it's not for us. I mean, that's always a possibility.
Correct.
It's not for us. I don't know what is, but this is just one of the things that we're evaluating. Remember, if Hercules or DuPont came here today, I'd have the same people here saying, even though 5, 6 generations fed their families, sent their sons to war to protect this great nation, they say, no, you can't come to Sayreville. We don't want you making chemicals. We don't want you making gunpowder. Here's the 25 reason it's no good. We want it to be barren land, which is good if you're out in Kansas, but it stinks if you're in New Jersey and you have the expense that goes along with living in New Jersey.
Right. And I think a lot of people also think that these data centers are going to be built by next year. It takes,
How long does it
Probably
take you, how long does it take to build a data center, Mr. McQuaid?
Here's a big one. They put additions on all the time, but usually about 2 years.
How long for the planning?
Oh, no, I just work.
Okay,
anyway.
all right, Judy, thank you. Kenny? Oh, wait a minute, Ken, let me get ladies first. No.
wanted to say one more thing.
Are you the young lady that sent me the email?
No,
No, okay.
I'm the young lady right here. I hope in the next year and a half that Carrie Kenny, Morgan section of Sayreville, that we're also just looking at maybe some of the health risks and benefits that this could, you talk about Hercules being here and, how if we would have kept them out and, where would we be? But there are health risks and hazards from having them here. We talk about as a teacher, we talked about how great technology was going to be and how we had to get all these kids on iPads. And now we're saying, oh, that was a mistake. Their brains aren't developing the right way anymore. That was a mistake. And we talk about how great, we're going to have put red dye in everything because we want to make kids want to eat it because it's so colorful. And I was saying, oh my God, we just ruined an entire generation of kids who can't focus or concentrate and now have cancer. So there's so many things that we thought were going to be so great for us and they're going to be so helpful, but they've had these lasting negative impacts on our health as a whole. And I just hope that in this research that you're doing, whether it's the noise and the water and all the things that I'm 100% opposed to, we're also thinking about in that 18 months, let's look at a place like Piscataway. Are they having a greater cancer cluster?
According to the mayor, they're not.
Well, they're
not,
They're
but I
brandy
don't-
spanking new.
Wait a minute, we had a guy years ago, I think he was Edison Wetlands. He came to the borough, he went into the library, took water samples from the water fountains and all this. And he sent it to some lab in Canada for testing. And the testing was done parts per billion. And this was before I really got too involved in politics. And I was working with people who were water engineers. And they said, Kennedy, it's impossible to, I think it was parts per billion. Do you remember, Jay? He was testing the water fountain water out of the library. And it came back with a minuscule amount of something, but he was testing, I think it was parts per billion. It was so extraordinary, so extreme. There wasn't a lab in America that would certify that test. And it was just the spread of misinformation. So what I'm saying is we're taking our time. We're looking at this. We're open to any other development ideas that there are, but the property owner is looking to make a sale. He's looking to sell the property. They've closed the factory down. They're leaving New Jersey. And so they're going to sell the property. Our job is to try to bring something to the best and higher use.
Well, this is probably a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Just because something's for sale doesn't mean it has to be bought, right? I mean, I try to sell my house. If nobody wants it, I'm just kind of stuck with it. So do we?
They may or may
have to
not
buy
sell it. I don't know.
Do we have to have it?
They eventually will sell it.
To whomever,
I
anybody?
don't know. Whoever
So-
brings them the check.
So the idea is we're just going to buy it up first
we can't afford to buy it up.
Gotcha. Okay.
Who's?
Mayor.
Wait, you can't just yell out from the audience. Just to put it in context, it's $500,000 an acre. There are 400 acres. It's in very simple terms, it's a $200 million purchase.
So that was the part I was trying to understand. I'm not understanding what you're saying. So they're going to sell it. So they want to sell it. It
They
doesn't.
want what?
They want to, you're saying they want to sell that property.
Oh, it's been
right?
for sale
So-
for quite some time,
Right.
for a while.
So I think I'm just having a hard time following how that connects to the data center. And this is literally my first meeting.
It was,
I've ever been to. Just-
it was a suggested use.
Got it. Okay.
It-
Right?
That was
It- it's
the
not-
track I was
That
trying.
what's built there is controlled by Sarah right now. They put data center as being allowed to be built there. They did that. And
It's not true, Mary. It's not controlled by Sarah.
right now, it was Sarah's suggestion.
Sarah does not change zoning
Oh,
ordinance.
I realize that. We
council-
change it, but it
Mayor and
was Sarah's
council- Mayor and
Sarah's
council does
recommendation.
that With the.
Sarah's recommendation
Planning board.
that it be put there.
That's a lot
And,
different than
excuse
saying-
me,
Wait a minute, Mary.
and
Sarah, I have
Sarah
to
said
correct you.
at their meeting,
I
Sarah
have
said
to
at their
correct you.
meeting, and I only just found this out back in 2025, that their preferred building there is a data center, and they were going to work towards that. So that's where they're heading. That's what they want. That's what they're pushing for.
Mary, that is your
It's
opinion.
in their minutes. It's not my opinion. I'm not a part of Sarah.
Right,
But
if-
that is incorrect. There was a discussion about that, and that's correct. That happened in December, and things have changed. And Sarah has taken a look at this and will continue to take a look at this. And I don't want this to be a conversation about Sarah. This is about what the residents are looking for, and to be able to do this in a manner that's professional, that's respectable, and respects the rights of our citizens. So, but you can't say that Sarah wanted to do this. Sarah takes a look at opportunities and then it turns it over with either a recommendation or not a recommendation. And the mayor and council ultimately makes that decision. It doesn't abdicate its decision. It's the mayor and council. And it would be foolhardy for Sarah not to look at every opportunity that's available because that's the job. Now, they may not recommend, or they may recommend, it really depends. But Sarah will do what Sarah normally does and have all the professionals take a look to determine whether there's a need for recommendation or not. And if they have to hire additional professionals to do that, which we already have added to try to get an energy consultant on board, and we're having the person from the Sierra Club, so we get a full knowledge of what's going on. That will occur, and that will continue to occur. And I don't want anybody to think that you're losing the trust of the community by doing this. We're trying to build a record and an understanding of what this is all about. Because at the end of the day, I don't think any one of us understand exactly what it's about. But if it's bad for Sayreville, it's not going to happen. That's the reason for this ban today, is to make sure that we make a decision today and get that on the record today that we're having a ban. And it is a total ban because it recognizes the entire township. And let's not do a foolhardy thing about a referendum because that's non-binding. And God forbid that we get the wrong answer. Now we have nothing behind us to be able to get done. We have an ordinance that we presented today, and by the next meeting, we're going to have it in place. So it protects our residents. And that's the purpose. If it has to be renewed, it can be renewed if we don't have enough time to make a decision. And yes, we're going to be able to publish whatever and make sure that that our residents know what meeting we're going to have and we're going to discuss it again. Every board will do that. That's the transparency of what happens. Ken, I don't know what happened at that planning board. I was not responsible. That came time before. And that's terrible if that happened to you where someone told you that the deal was done. I don't know who. And you're welcome to tell me who it is and you're welcome not to tell me. But I'm telling you right now,
I plugged into the building.
and that was wrong. Absolutely wrong. I don't know how that happened. And it should never have happened, by God. But I'll tell you, that's not how things operate today.
All right, Ken, you had a comment?
Kenneth Scott, Oak Tree Road. It seems to me we have a Councilman Bloomer. I hope if I pronounced your name wrong, I apologize. Hervé, I don't say. we're taking your advice very seriously. But if I'm not mistaken, your job is operations, am I correct?
My job is.
I mean, your expertise is more in the operations end.
Well, I do have an A+ MCSE twice, so I'm operational as well as hardware. I was a network engineer, MCSE, so Microsoft Certified System Engineer.
Okay, systems.
So
engineer. But I
hardware.
think what we're talking about here
Mhm.
is the difference between you and systems engineering and infrastructure.
But if I'm a network engineer, that is actually both. In other words, I built the servers. Okay, I built
But
the
you
server.
didn't build the Halon gas, and you didn't build the,
Of course not.
okay, you didn't do that, all right?
I didn't do that.
Didn't do that, all right? And you're not an expert on the Halon gas.
I am not,
And you're
no.
not an expert on zoning, all right? I mean, from how these people are zoned. My suggestion is this. I think the main problem is not the systems. The main problem has to be, because of our questions on electrical and water, is infrastructure.
Actually, the main problems are the CPUs and the GPUs, but go
But
ahead.
the problem is the infrastructure. We all talked about the power. and We
Right.
talked about the noise. That's
Mm-hmm.
the infrastructure.
Yeah, but what is causing that? What is causing the fact that we need power?
My
and-
suggestion is this,
Mhm.
that there are people that are as experienced in infrastructure
Mhm.
as you are in what you do. And I would suggest that we get some kind of a third party to talk a little bit about these problems and how please, and how that you were shaking your head, on how they must have had these problems in other places. And maybe they can come up with some suggestions on how they solve these problems in other places.
Mhm.
Okay, because what's going to happen, people talk, and if this doesn't work, somebody's going to want to buy something else at Hercules, and that broker is going to say, boy, these people give us a hard time without having all the facts. I say we get all the facts, and I think the facts are the infrastructure. And I don't think we've got enough information, and I think we ought to get some infrastructure people to come in and talk to us. That's it. You don't believe, okay, you don't agree, it's fine.
Didn't say anything.
You shook your head.
I don't have to agree.
Well, you shook your head no.
No, but do I have to agree with you?
You didn't have to shake your head
Okay,
no.
then, I agree.
Okay.
Don't be sarcastic.
Thank you, Ken.
Yes, I
Thank you.
am.
Okay, are there any other questions before I close the public portion? All right, being no other questions, I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so those of you who want to go home to your family, we're just doing mundane, routine government stuff. You're welcome to say,
Mayor, I'd just like to make one comment.
yeah, what's
I-
that?
In the early 70s, we didn't have any municipal taxes. We were totally supported by the utilities that we were putting up with all of the problems, so we got all of this taxes. And then a governor came in who decided the state should take all that money. What I've heard tonight is the only reason for this is they're going to pay so much in taxes.
Okay.
Tomorrow, any governor could come in and take it all away. And and then our taxes would go right through the roof.
Okay,
So nothing is definite.
okay. All right, administration, agenda? Okay.
Authorization for the tax collector to refund taxes and cancel all subsequently billed taxes due to 100% disabled veteran tax exemption for 10 Raritan Ave in the amount of $8,184.84. 17 Evelyn Terrace in the amount of $5,050.94, and 24 Latham Circle in the amount of $1,271.06.
Any objections? Next item.
Authorization to award a contract to 22nd Century Technologies for software maintenance through Sourcewell contract in an amount not to exceed $38,778.
Any objection? Next item.
Application for a place-to-place and person-to-person transferred received from Peg Pub, which is a pocket license, to Nexverta LLC and place it at 960 Route 9 South. An application for a waiver of compliance with Ordinance 6-5.8 to locate within 2,000 feet of another liquor establishment.
This go through the police department?
Yes,
And what,
everything's all right. Everything's in order.
okay. Is there any objection? Okay, next item.
Coin toss request from the OLV Knights of Columbus on October 10th and 11th.
Any objection? Next item.
Application for a membership as a fighter received from Aiden Wilson, accepted by President Park Fire Company.
Any objection? Next item.
Request to travel received from Melrose Hose Company to attend a fire mustered on June 21st.
Any objection? Next item.
Authorization to release the bond for road opening permit number 5710 to A Serve Done, Inc.
Any objection? Next item.
Request received to hold a block party for residents of Rhoda Drive between Driftwood and Dusco Drive on July 4th from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. and residents of Ridge Ave between numbers 13 to 20 on July 25th from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Any objection? Next item.
Authorization to award a non-fair and open contract to Top Security Locksmiths of Point Pleasant for steel doors and security keypad locks at the library in the amount not to exceed $19,072.
Omnia objection. Next item.
Authorization to purchase office furniture for the library from Allstate Office Interiors through Omnia contract and TIPS contract in an amount not to exceed $58,122.86.
Any objection? Next item.
Authorization to award a non-fair and open contract to Evaqua Water Technologies for air filtration system at the Eugene Pump Station in an amount not to exceed $28,100.
Any objection? Next item.
Authorization to award a contract to Pumping Services, Inc. for replacement of equipment at the Crossman Pump Station through North Jersey Wastewater Cooperative Pricing in an amount not to exceed $75,860.68.
Any objection? Anything else? Business Administrators Report?
Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. CFO's report?
Thank you, Mayor. Progress.
Thank you. Borough Engineers Report?
Thank you, Mayor. 5 items this evening. The first 2, we're receiving bids for 2 projects before your next meeting. If everything's in order, we'd like to have contract awarding those 2 bids.
Any objection? Next item.
Items 3 and 4, 2 active project Kennedy Park Walkway and 2004 road improvements, looking for approval of change orders to compensate the contractor for extra work that was done at the request of the borough. No change to the overall contract amount.
Any objection? Next item.
And finally, we're submitting grant application for the next round of DOT funding. We're looking for resolutions authorizing those grant applications to be submitted.
Any objection? Anything else, Jay?
I have one question for Jay. Can I possibly get a street paving for the year? What streets are going to be done for this year? Thank you.
Okay, Borough Attorney?
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, this time I'll take a motion for adjournment. Before we do.
I'd like to make a comment, please, before we leave. I just want to say that I like that we're talking about the data centers. I think it's very important that we, like the gentleman said, that we get professionals and that we really, really are making the right decision for Sayreville. I think we heard this side and that side. I heard people in favor, people that oppose. I know the gentleman, Bill, brought up a referendum idea, and I think that we listen to this side, that side, and we also have to listen to the residents, just like John made a poll, which was voted the majority against the data centers. So with that said, I'd like to know if I can get a second on a motion for a referendum.
Second.
Third.
This, I think this strategy is coming to us straight from the state of Washington.
I knew that was coming.
Point of order. Rules of Order number 15, no allusion shall be made to the motives accruing from any member in the course of this debate or, Mayor.
Why would you oppose to what the people, to hear what the people have to say?
Jim. Mayor, again, point of order. If we don't follow the rules that we voted on January 1st, then how do we expect anybody in this town to follow rules?
Motion and a second and a third on it. So you guys are you're trying your best to put these guys at work.
Mayor, you were the one with the firehouse saying we needed a referendum. But when we say we want a referendum, we're wrong.
Rios,
Yes, I'd like to know what the residents think about this.
Blumer,
Yes.
Parisi,
I think it's a little premature. So for now, I'll be no.
Novak,
Yes.
Stenarski,
No.
Zabrowski.
No, I'm very concerned that this is a political stunt and not a real issue.
Again, point of order.
I'm not allowed to comment?
You go ahead and speak your mind.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
I was able to comment after my vote.
You are not allowed to make any allusions as to the motives accruing from any member in the course of debate.
It's a fact.
Well, I'll just talk about my thoughts then. My thought is this is not the appropriate thing to do. We've already acted because of what our residents have said. We've heard what our residents have said. I don't think we need to have to go back and try to do a referendum, which is non-binding, meaning it has no legal force. When we've taken action tonight to totally ban data centers for an 18-month period, to be able to determine whether they are good, bad, or indifferent. I don't want to make this a political issue. This is an issue that should be bipartisan, and it should be an issue for our community, not made for political campaigning, which I believe it is. That's my thought. And I'm no.
With that, we have
It's
a tied vote.
3-3.
And I guarantee that tomorrow, the next day, under the heading of Jimmy Robinson, we're gonna say, Mayor denied the residents a referendum. Now, just remember, Jimmy, it was illegal for Jimmy to be on a land use board. It's illegal for Jimmy to work with children because he can't ask the state children back on. But for whatever reason, colleagues think he is the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. And they will follow him.
Will the attorney please rule on my point of order?
So Jim, right away, buddy, right away. Apparently, the people in the state of Washington don't find you a precocious 70-year-old.
Just so we had the referendum on the firehouse and we saw that the residents of this town, even though the council was not in favor of spending that money, the residents of the town wanted it, and that referendum was able to change the mind of the people sitting up here. I don't know why you're so afraid of this.
Representative government. I was helping out the historical society.
Yep. But now all of a sudden, it's not worth it. I know.
Jimmy Robinson wouldn't have a foot. Okay, motion to adjourn.
What he always likes to say about women.
That is so rude. I mean, what are we, children now? Come on.
Motion to adjourn.
Really?
To adjourn.
Okay,
No, I need it one.
motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
No, I need one.
Motion.
All right. Roll call.
I need a second. He made a motion.
Roll call.
Okay, now all in favor?
All in favor?
We're all gonna sit here and.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you.